Whenever anybody asks me what's a good game, the first game that pops into my head is Blaster Master. Although it's got the stupidest story of all time, it still stands as one of the greatest games ever in my opinion. The storyline is basically that Jason's pet frog Fred leaps from its container onto a fucking radioactive box, yes, 10 feet from where his like side door was, jumps into like halfway into the earth. Jason jumps after him, lands, finds Sophia 3 the tank, dons the armor that was just happened to be available, and goes after him. It's the stupidest story ever. It makes no sense. But let's not look at the story. Let's look at the gameplay. That's what I'm here to show you. This game stands as one of my top ranked and one of my favorite games of all time. However, I will not be biased. I will tell you what's wrong with it as well as what's great with it. First off, basic controls. You know, left goes left, right goes right, A is to jump, B is to shoot. Here's a cool thing. You can exit the tank. Press select, you can exit the tank. Of course, as you're going to see very quickly, Jason is not exactly powerful outside of Sophia 3. And I'm going to keep referencing to the tank as Sophia 3. But as you just saw, there are ways to deal with this fact as well. Also, to get inside the tank, you've got to be pretty close to the side, like the middle of it, as you can see. If you're not, well, you're not getting in the tank. It doesn't... How can I describe this? It's not a hard game, but it can be a challenging game at times. But consistently, the enemies drop power-ups and all sorts of things, so it's not like you're left high and dry to die. This isn't Contra, where it's one hit and you're dead. Now, you have more chance than that. But okay, I want to show something. For whatever reason, the ground just blows you up. I don't know what it is, but let's avoid it. I assume it's supposed to be like raw sewage or something in the earth. To me, it looked like grass. Even as a child, I couldn't figure this one out. But okay, Sunsoft, I'll ignore that one. That's one thing I never understood what it was. But okay, moving on. The game plays a lot like what you've seen in later Castlevania games, or even Metroid, for example, where you have to go back and forth through the levels, and once you get certain power-ups, you can go back into a level and explore areas you normally couldn't under, you know, normal circumstances. Ignore that jump. I've edited around it, but apparently it still remains. Okay, you can see there's nothing in my inventory. I don't have any power-ups or nothing, and I'll explain what those do in due time. Let's go over something. I was talking about Jason, how he can't do stuff. Pay attention. You cannot fall from high heights with Jason. He can't fly, he will fall, and he will die. But you can do this little trick. If you got good timing, anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to show you the second piece of this game. Yes, there's more than one part to this game. There is an overhead, or top-down view, as I've called it for years, where you control Jason inside these mazes, where you have to fight enemies, and you can take damage, and you can die, as I'm showing here. And it's another layer to the game, so we already have two different varieties of gameplay here. Interesting, when most games only have one layer. So the substance level here is higher than most games. But that doesn't mean shit if the game plays like garbage. Does it play like garbage? Nope. So anyway, you don't even have to go in these rooms, technically, unless you want to collect crap, but there are secrets to be found in this game. And really, what you're looking at here is just the way the game, why the game takes, well, it might take you 10 hours to play first time through, 10, 15 hours, give or take, if you can figure out where to go. But there are so many rooms to explore and so much to do in this NES title, it's ridiculous. It dwarfs most PlayStation games I've played. In fact, some PS2 games don't have the playtime or the game value as this one does. Okay, here's the problem. When you enter doorways and there's enemies nearby, you're going to have to use Jason fast. You're going to have to kill the enemies as quickly as possible. Okay, so let's say you want to go up the ladder fast. Keep tapping jump and hold up at the same time, and you'll get on top. Of course, once you get to like the top where the tank is, it's not going to go. You're going to get stuck in the ground. I don't know why. It's a game thing. So, moving on, we get back into Sophia 3. Again, I'm referencing the tank. And we go blow more shit up. I mean, they don't call this game Blaster Master for nothing. You blast everything that moves. Okay, here's another maze. You'll notice it looks the same graphic-wise, but you'll notice it's a completely different layout from what we were just in. That's the cool thing, variety. This game throws a ton of it at you. Nothing is ever the same for too long in this game. It never gets too tedious or too boring, except for a few minor points, which I will point out later on. Also, note that screen. You saw that lightning burst? I'll come back to that, but that is important, actually. But yeah, you don't really have to come into these rooms right now. These are for later on. And I don't want to give anything away because the game is a lot of fun, and I'm hoping people decide to play it after I show it, but You know how people are. Especially gamers, anyway. Alright, anyway, so let's get the hell out of here. We don't need to be here. Come on, Jason. Come on, move your fucking ass. Thank you. Of course, now Jason's gonna get raped by the robot man. And yeah, I do have minor gripes with this game. Sometimes it feels a little slow. Actually, sometimes it feels like the NES was slowing down. And I swear to God, it's not just my emulator. It's... Even on the NES, I felt like when I entered certain rooms, there was just this immediate slow... Like, the gameplay just slowed down slightly. Like, there was too much stuff going on at once. And these robots are pretty generic. That's a problem with this game. I like it, but... The enemies and stuff, they're kind of generic. They're easy to kill enough at points. And some of them look cool, but most of them just, I don't know, they don't look like that much. And these things look like rip-offs. These things look like rip-offs of Metroids, in my opinion. I mean, that's just what they look like to me, but you tell me, doesn't that look like a Metroid? And it's, again, it's ironic, because this game plays a lot like Metroid. But it's not a rip-off of Metroid in the slightest. I'm just saying, you know, alright, I'm off on a tangent here. Okay, so let's go to the first boss. In case you're wondering how you play this game, what you have to do is basically find the right doorway to the correct area, and you'll get up to the boss-type character once you complete the maze. You'll know you're there, usually, because it's the hardest door to find, or the longest path you have to take. But you navigate these mazes, as I'm doing again. You do fight enemies, and they do shoot back. You'll see that later on. And basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find the... What are they called? The Plutonian Masters, or Plutonian Bosses. I can't remember the exact name. It was in my manual, which I read, like, God knows how long ago. And what you want to do is you want to take them out, because they'll give you abilities. So, again, like Metroid, except in Metroid you would find your abilities inside the statues. Here you kill the bosses, and, you know, you get the special ability for your tank or whatever. And it allows you to explore levels further, or go back and do things you couldn't do before, and, you know, it creates this kind of non-linear feel in a game that could have been extremely linear and boring, but it's not, because of that fact. But yeah, it does get a little tedious, and the music is great and everything. I love the soundtrack to this game, but when you're stuck in an area for like an hour and a half and you have that same tune playing over and over again, it can give you a fucking migraine. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. And shit like that is just cheesy. I mean, come on, you take pot shots all the time in this game. And no, it's not a hard game, but it's hard enough. Now, something might confuse you coming up. You see that power-up in the corner there? We're gonna get to it in a sec. How there's, like, spikes all over. How the hell am I supposed to get that without getting damaged, you'd say? You have to take damage. This is a crazy fact about this game that always confused the hell out of me, but adds to, I guess, the uniqueness of it. When you blink when you're damaged, for a split second you have the ability to move over pits, to pass impassable objects. It's ridiculous, but true. And I've seen many speedrunners use that to their advantage. Alright, so here's the boss. You'll know you're up to the boss when you hear that ding, ding, ding noise. And then it's go time. Then you better be ready to fight. And this is the easiest boss in the entire game. Now, a thing about the bosses in this game. This one is piss easy. All you gotta do is dodge these things. And I played this enough to know how to dodge them, like right on the spot. And I only take one hit in this scene, and that's simply because I sneezed. I wasn't looking at the screen. But this is the easiest boss in the entire game. Though when I first started playing, it was not easy in the slightest. It took me, God, who knows, a month? Because back when I was a kid, I really didn't know what the hell I was doing. This game was a little too confusing for me. But yeah, the bosses in this game can give you a real ride for your money at times. Super Nintendo guy, aka Wizwar, I recommended this game for him to play, and, you know, he's blazing through the bosses, but the levels are giving him challenges. So you might have it the reverse. You might find the bosses piss easy, but the level's hard as hell. And it's fair assumption, because later on in the game, the levels get devious. I don't want to give away too much, because I want you guys to really experience this one on your own, but I'll show you scenes from upcoming levels where you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. It's also worth noting, I'm not showing the entire game in this review. I refuse to do that. You want to see the whole game, play it, or watch a speedrun. And the speedruns are terrible because you don't get to experience it. Okay, watch this. That's good game design. That tank was over the freaking edge, and it still worked. In normal games, you get stuck, you'd be fucked, you'd be like, oh, I don't know how to get back in, I'm stuck on the corner. I've seen it. Okay, now the attacks I just did again. You hold down and you attack, and you know, your specialty attack fires, and you can choose between the three in there. You have homing missiles, that lightning strike attack, which comes from the bottom, which is excellent for if you're jumping and you're falling and you want to shoot something below you, but, you know, you can't aim down, of course. The tank doesn't aim that way. And at the same time, you have a 3-shot missile, which is pretty good for killing multiple enemies at once, and it's very powerful. More powerful than your normal shot is, anyway. And so you can use those to your advantage if you want, but you never have to use them at all. You may also have noticed when I beat the boss and I picked that thing up, all of a sudden my tank's cannon is firing a different type of shot. It's more powerful than the original, and the reason for this is it's going to unlock the passage to Stage 2, or Area 2 as they call it. Like I said, it's not a game like you're used to where you just go from level to level. When you complete it, says, you know, level complete, gives you a score count and shit. It doesn't have that here. Here, the objective is one big fat-ass world that you've got to explore. And there's areas you don't have to normally go to, but you can for, you know, just added enjoyment or replayability. And you'll see, like, all little hints throughout these levels as you play them as to places where you might be able to go. Like, why are those guys in there? Isn't that a little weird? Like, why would they put that in there? Why are there platforms? As I said, when you play it more and you get deeper into it, you start realizing that these things were there for a purpose. They weren't just thrown there for random, you know, no reason whatsoever, like most games I've played. It also gets a little tricky with these mines, especially later on into Stage 3. But see, I found Zone 2, or Area 2, by getting the new weapon and blasting an enemy to pieces that you can't do anything about at first. And yeah, I hate these falling enemies. But okay, now we're just gonna have a montage of various scenes from the game while I talk about it. It's an interesting combination of, indoor maze-type shooter with gigantic bosses that are pretty challenging later on, and at the same time, platforming engine inside of a tank that feels right at home with any other classic Nintendo game. There's really nothing like it. Not to mention, like I said, the music is really good. It's catchy tunes that only get old if you're really, really stuck or screwed, and while it can seem a little cheesy at times, it does work out, and you can really have a great time playing this. There are moments where, yeah, you'll tear your hair out. There are those in every game. And every good game gives you a good run for your money. They don't just let you walk around and do whatever the fuck you want. Here, the villains are not just standing around like going, oh, I'm a villain, I'm gonna do nothing, like they do in most games. Here, the villains are gonna come at you full force. Look at this. I mean, you could see in these shots, I'm having issues trying to kill basic enemies. That's a good thing. It adds to the challenge level of these games. Again, we've gone to a new level, new music, new setup, everything looks different, it's not the same crap over and over again. Some enemies repeat, but the thing I want to stress here is variety. Every level is completely different. You have this technological world, you have an underwater world, you have an ice world, you have a world made of completely of lava and spikes, you have the center of the earth, and so forth and so on. It never feels too repetitive or old or tired. It doesn't get boring like most games do. And that's why it stands out. That isn't to say that I don't have issues with it, because believe me, I do. In fact, there are a couple of problems with this game. Though to stress them is stupid because they're not that big an issue, but let me go over a few ones. Okay, for starters, Level 4 takes place in a humongous sewer, and the entire level is just one big maze. And this is cool and everything, but when you cannot figure out where you're going after the first 20 or 30 minutes, it gets old, and the music doesn't help. I like the song, but it's freaking annoying. You see me dropping on mines as I fall, right? You gotta deal with mines, you gotta deal with this music, you gotta deal with the fact that there's like 9 doors, and only one of them is gonna lead to the boss. And as you can see, the level's not small. You go all over the friggin' place. This is just plain annoying and frustrating, and I kinda wish they'd left it out of the game, because I could see many beginners just pulling their fucking hair out saying, I can't fucking find the motherfucking door! But yeah, it's pretty much that. See this door here? This ain't even the right fucking door. So yeah, this is a definite problem. Level 4, I really wish they had done some different designs, but, you know, you can live with it. It's possible to beat it, so it's not that bad. Another major issue in this game is hit detection. It's not always the best. Pay attention closely as I shoot, how, like, nothing's really having an impact, but when they shoot at you, they get you every time. And you also have this problem right here. Enemies on the corner you can't do anything about. First of all, I have no gun power, so I can't shoot from a long distance, and I have to go around the corner, basically. So that means I have to take damage, and it's possible that that could happen. I also don't particularly care for navigating tiny-ass platforms with a one-fall death in a game where if you lose 3 times, you have to go back to the start of the fucking level and do it all over again. Yes, you will have to retrace your way back through that freaking sewer from hell. And then there's just moments like this. This is probably the biggest what the fuck or WTF moment in the entire game for me. Pay close attention. This is bad game design. This is just you know, you'd be sitting there and you're fucked. The only way to do this is to get out as Jason, jump around, and kill yourself. That's just fucking wrong. They should not have put this in the game. It's ridiculously stupid. But the absolute prize-winning moment in this game, the one that will piss you off the most, is these bosses. Let me tell you something. If you don't know the secrets to beating them, they are going to hand you your ass on a platter. And it may look easy from here, but let me tell you right now, it ain't. And when you're a kid, your reflexes are better, they say. I don't know. I had problems when I was a kid, and I still have problems with this game. And you will die a fucking lot. You'll be tearing your hair out, screaming and yelling, kicking, you know, just generally pissed off, threatening the game's life, its mother telling it you will burn it to the ground, but you'll keep on playing. I couldn't even begin to tell you why I kept playing years ago, because I was getting so fed up, but I'm so glad I did. There's one simple fact that I've left out. The reason you play Blaster Master. To blast these motherfuckers back where they fucking came from. Let's dance, Froggy! Yeah! You just got blasted your ass away. And let me tell you, kicking that boss's ass after all I went through, it doesn't get any better than that.